Jesse Weber, we have breaking news for you, and that is that the probable cause affidavit in the Idaho 4 murder case has officially been released, and we are learning new details about what led police to arrest suspect Brian Kohberger. Talking about him for a minute, he's expected to appear in court today after being extradited back to Idaho. He's accused of 4 counts of first-degree murder. He's also facing a burglary charge. We know that the suspect arrived yesterday evening to the Latah County Jail hours after authorities flew him out from Pennsylvania, where he was later booked. And a lot of people across the nation are interested in this case. We're going to take your questions, so please submit them on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. But right now, we have to break down this probable cause affidavit. As I said, we are learning things that we did not know before. As you can see, I'm casually dressed. We had to jump on the air immediately to get this to you. I want to bring in my 2 special guests to talk more about this. I'm joined right now by law enforcement instructor Sonny Slaughter. I'm also joined by forensic death investigator from Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan. It is great to have you both here. I'm going to start with you, Sonny, and I'm going to start with one of the most shocking revelations in this probable cause affidavit, which I will tell you is more detailed than I would have imagined. It's about 19 pages. First up, we had a lot of questions about the 2 surviving roommates that were on the ground floor in that house. According to the probable cause affidavit, I'm going to read it for everybody. DM, who is one of the surviving victims, she said, DM stated she opened her door for the 3rd time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. Now, later on in this probable cause affidavit, when they were able to determine that it might have been Kohberger, they looked at his license plate and noted the bushy eyebrows. The idea that someone in this house saw him is unbelievable. What's your reaction, Sonny?
It's absolutely unbelievable. I'm just printing out the affidavit right now and trying to go through it, right before we went on the air. This is one of the most detailed affidavits that I have ever seen, and this is the reason why they got the guy. There's nothing to suggest that he was not present. They have the DNA, they have everything that they need, but more importantly, it's the eyewitness, the details and the level of detail that law enforcement has provided in this affidavit. There's no reason and there's no way that a judge would not have weighed in and said this is absolutely necessary.
So, a few things to note. Again, throughout this discussion, he is innocent until proven guilty, but what this lays out is the probable cause by which they felt necessary to arrest him. What is so eerie is to hear this account of the roommates. They heard people saying in the upstairs room to the effect of, there's someone here. They heard one of the victims say that. They heard a voice say, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Possibly from the killer. Now, Joseph, I'm going to go to you because this is something that we had suspected about the murder weapon. Now, I will tell you the murder weapon has not been recovered, but this is what we have. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side, Madison Mogan, one of the victims, when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had K-Bar, USMC, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA, the suspect profile, left on the bottom snap of the knife sheath. Now, of course, that's important, Joseph, because we had suspected for a while that, and we actually had Phil Waters on our Sidebar podcast who said this could be a K-Bar military-style knife. Now, just to reiterate this, later on in the affidavit, they did a DNA test. And what they did is on December 27, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger family residence located in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. That evidence was sent to the Idaho State Lab for testing. The next day, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of suspect profile. At least 99.9998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. Joseph, what do we make of that?
You're going head-to-head with numbers. Numbers always win in the end. All speculation, supposition, all of that stuff is out the window. When you have these specific scientific tiebacks, and as you had mentioned, we had suspected a sheath for a while. We heard about military-style knife. We heard somebody throw out a term, Rambo knife. We didn't know what the genesis of those terms were or where it was coming from. And we did, in fact, hear the term K-bar. We've talked about this for a while, and it is a specific knife. The thing about these types of knives, hunting or military-style knives, most of the time, they come, you purchase these things with a sheath so that you can put it on your belt, all those sorts of things. The fact that it's adjacent, this DNA is recovered adjacent to the snap on it, which holds it in place,
Right.
is significant. This goes back to a manufacturer, and it also, this DNA ties back to him. It is incredible evidence. I didn't think we were going to have this much.
So I'm going to read portions of this affidavit because it literally came down 5-10 minutes ago. People have not heard it, so I'm going to read portions of it. This is very interesting. This is something that online sleuths were thinking once he was arrested. Did he make a Reddit post? Well, this is what we know based on the probable cause affidavit. Based on information provided on the WSU website, Washington State University, Kohberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, we learned that Kohberger's past education included graduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. These records also showed Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. He actually applied for an internship with the police department. Kohberger wrote in his essay that he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Kohberger also posted a Reddit survey, which can be found on an open-sourced internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to, quote, understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. There has been a lot of speculation about why someone like him would have done that. This is something that came early on. I want to go back to the discussion of the initial impressions from the surviving roommates, because I think that's really key. Again, we talked about the K-bar style knife. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers. They interviewed the two surviving roommates. And this is what we, and again, what they start off the probable cause affidavit, basically going through what we know already, the timeline of events about where Madison was, where Kaylee was, where Zana was, where Ethan was. But where it really gets interesting is the timeline of this. This is a lot later than we initially anticipated. So to give everybody an idea here, I'm going to pull this up. We actually thought that the murders might have happened earlier. According to police, they believe the murders happened between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. I think that is a bit later than we originally said. I'm going to read more from the affidavit. DM, again, one of the roommates who survived, who was on the ground floor, stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonsalves, Kaylee Gonsalves, playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which was located on the third floor. A short time later, DM said that she heard who she thought was Gonsalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this could have also been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. DM stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. DM then said that she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. By the way, I'm going to continue, but you can see more of the evidence that we didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. This is a more detailed timeline than any of us could have imagined. DM stated she opened her door for the third time. She heard crying and saw a figure clad in black, and I went through that already about seeing this. Now, they go on to say that the combination of DM's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from BF and DM's phone, and video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe that the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. Now, this is also important. This is about latent shoe prints. I'm going to read that part. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black. This is a protein strand that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans-type shoe sole. This was just outside the door of DN's bedroom, located on the second floor. This is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as a video canvass, was conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13, 2022 in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspects or suspect vehicles traveling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvass resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed the numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with other officers, and they go on to say that. A review of camera footage indicated, and this is where that white Hyundai Elantra comes into play. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. At this point, they didn't know it was the vehicle that we now know, the white Hyundai Elantra. This is how they first were able to identify it. A review of footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showing multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. Remember the timeline of when they think these murders occurred. These sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leave via Walenta Drive. Based off of my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame. Again, this is also important because remember, he is charged with first-degree murder. There is a level of premeditation and planning to this. Keep this in mind as we hear all this. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time at approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. Suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. Suspect vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Walenta Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood, that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame. I believe that suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palouse River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. We've talked about this before. when he was ultimately apprehended, the connection, the geographical distance between his university and where these murders occurred. I'm going to continue on. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the FBI that regularly utilizes surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of these unknown vehicles. The forensics examiner, and they go into the forensics examiner's background and experience. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, the forensics examiner initially believed that suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011-2013 Hyundai Elantra, but upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011-2016 Hyundai Elantra. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle of this type. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University WSU campus. This is how they were able to connect the car to Kohberger. If we have some more time, I'd like to get into it before we take our break. So let me do this real quick. Okay, so we're not going to take breaks. I'm going to continue to go forward with this.